We have some big news right now. Donald Trump and the White House woke up furious at the fact that No King's Day yesterday turned out to be one of the largest protests in American history. Yes, I'm serious. So the White House was clearly monitoring what was happening on the ground across America. And while the final numbers were about 7 million people across the globe marched against No Kings, or in the United Kingdom, as they called it, No Tyrants Day. And while they all had a unified message that there is no one king or one tyrant who could rule over their people. This wasn't an anti Trump protest per se, because you had Republicans, Democrats, and independents all out there. In fact, many Republicans came up to me and said, "Thank you for the work that you're doing," even if they say that they may not agree with all the coverage that I do all the time. So we're clearly breaking through, and the White House, well, they're not too happy about it. Donald Trump, in response to No King's Day, posted a very bizarre video that I want you to see. It's of him with a king crown, essentially dropping feces on protesters in New York City. One of the protesters is liberal influencer Harry Sisson. And Donald Trump in this video has a king's crown. He's in this Air Force jet. And it's very odd. It's very odd. But aside from that, Donald Trump woke up furious this morning after No King's Day. He woke up and started threatening Colombia, which strikes on another sovereign country, just days after striking more Venezuelan fishermen off the coast of Venezuela. In a new post, Donald Trump writes, "President Gustavo Petro of Colombia is an illegal drug leader, strongly encouraging the massive production of drugs in big and small fields all over Colombia. It has become the biggest business in Colombia by far, and Petro does nothing to stop it. Despite large-scale payments and subsidies from the USA that are nothing more than a long-term ripoff of America. As of today, these payments or any other form of payment or subsidies will no longer be made to Colombia. The purpose of this drug production is the sale of massive amounts of product into the United States, causing death, destruction, and havoc." And get this part. Petro, a low-rated and very unpopular leader with a fresh mouth towards America, better close up these killing fields immediately, or the United States will close them up for him, and it won't be done nicely. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He is furious this morning, one day after millions marched against him and his policies across the country. And well, he's now gone so far as to suggest that he, as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States, should be involved in criminal prosecutions against his political opponents. I want you to watch this.
Things on them because they knew how bad they were.
So was it a conspiracy?
If they weren't bad, they wouldn't have known that.
Do you expect there will be charges that there was a conspiracy against you?
I don't know about charges. You know, I'm allowed to be involved in this. I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. You know that, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, he's the president. He should." No, I'm the chief law enforcement. I'm allowed to be involved in it, but I haven't chosen to. I think Pam is doing a very good job. I think Cash is really coming onto his own. It's a field that he's very good at. I think they have some people that are very good. We're going to see what happens. And again, I didn't know what was happening, but I see John Bolton just got indicted. That's a good thing. He's a bad guy. I don't know what he did, but he's a bad guy. Stupid kind of a guy, actually, you know.
Moment. He's ramping up attacks against those that he disagrees with. And he's doing it because people came out and showed full force why his policies don't work, why they don't support him as president of the United States of America. So I will say this. It's pretty stunning to see that the president of the United States not only is going after political opponents, not only threatening to strike a sovereign country in Colombia, but actually I think the most important part of all of this is that bizarre AI-generated video that I showed you earlier in this clip. Because imagine, just take a minute and take a step back, and imagine if the president was Joe Biden, or imagine if the president was Barack Obama, even George Bush. Imagine they post a video of themselves dropping feces on American citizens, specifically on those protesting in the United States of America, exercising their First Amendment right. The mainstream media would run wild with this story. It would be wall-to-wall coverage of how the president of the United States is trying to quell dissent, is attacking those who don't like him. But not just that, how this is something completely not presidential, how these individuals, how this president is seemingly unfit to serve. But because Donald Trump does it, they are okay with it. No mainstream CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they're not covering this. Barely, if any, coverage on it. The Times, the Post, they're not writing about this, barely, if they do. Why? Because they sanewash what the president of the United States does. And I think that's a very significant point that a lot of people are missing. The media in America has grown to sanewash what Donald Trump does. Just because it's Donald Trump doing it does not make it any more or less okay. The fact that we have to read headlines every single day that sound like they're coming from The Onion, yet are completely real, that's a problem in the United States of America. And yet, the mainstream media, instead of calling it out and instead of recognizing that, they just brush it off as Donald Trump being Donald Trump with his rhetoric and his jokes and his AI videos. But the American president staying up all night, scrolling Truth Social, his own social media platform, and posting these AI-generated images and videos of themselves as king, of themselves dropping feces on their political opponents, on regular, average American citizens protesting, no kings, that should be wall-to-wall coverage. That should be a problem. But it isn't for far too many media companies. It isn't for far too many journalists who just try to stay in Donald Trump's good graces and say that this is just Trump being Trump. But as a journalist, I can't do that. I don't need to stay in anyone's good graces. I need to make clear that this is not okay. It's not okay. I should not have to be reporting on a president dropping feces on American citizens. And that's why I'm always going to continue to never sanewash what is happening in this White House. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't, like, comment, and share this video, because we're living in a time right now where you don't just see the media now kind of massaging the way they report on stories. You now see the media going so far as sanewashing what the White House is doing and just kind of saying, oh, it's just Trump being Trump. In other words, it's just boys being boys. Remember that? And I think that it's probably one of the top examples of why in this moment, independent media truly has never been so important. Because no, it's not just Trump being Trump. It's a president of the United States posting unhinged and bizarre videos that question his ability to serve.